So I'm going to do a surprise broadcast tonight. Well, it's not that much of a surprise because I did actually put it up on the page that I'm going to do that. And for some of you who might know, we've got the weekend coming up, and the weekend I always do a lot of broadcasts. So let me just see if I can let you all know when we do the Tiny Chat broadcast. And the link and everything is on the web page, which is DearMamaSal.com. And on the right hand side you'll see all the links to things like my Facebook page and all the things you need. Facebook, YouTube stuff. Obviously you know where that is, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. What else? And the Tiny Chat link is there as well for you, so it should be quite easy. But here's what I normally do at the weekend. I normally broadcast 12, these are all Pacific Coast times, because I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, or very close to it. So I will be broadcasting 12 o'clock noon for all the overseas people, all the people in Europe. I try and go on at that time just so I can talk to my European viewers. And then again at 8 o'clock at night, this is on Friday, and then 8 o'clock on Saturday, and then 3:30 on Sunday. So those are the hours that I start. Now what time do I finish? It depends. It depends on a number of things. It depends how much fun we're having. If we're having lots of fun, I'm inclined to stay on longer than I should. If I'm the only one contributing, then I won't stay on as long. So normally it's an hour, 2 hours, but it has gone for as long as 4, or I think once it went to 6 hours. But that was during the Christmas time, so it was quite a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you. I think I might have said that we had a viewer from Ireland yesterday, and I just got another viewer from Texas that just wrote to me today. Obviously, that was nice to hear that I got another viewer. It's amazing to me that Texas is such a big viewership. It's my second biggest market after LA, or California. I think it goes California, Texas, and then Florida. This is and with California, without a doubt, my quite dramatically different market. So I'm really grateful to all you Californians. And I wonder if you're watching to see whether I actually do live in an igloo. Because one of the things that amazed me when I lived in California for a short time was that everybody was convinced that Canadians actually lived in igloos. It was quite cute. I tried to explain to them we actually had houses, and that, in Vancouver we didn't have a great deal of snow. Apparently is not what the perception is at all. I think everybody thinks we really go around, live in igloos and have our own sort of dog teams to transport us in our sleds, and not so. Mind you, I can always remember when I lived in Africa, and I lived in Africa for 17 years, everybody's vision of how I lived was, that everybody was running around naked and living in mud huts. Yeah, right. And then I had to remind people things like, the first heart transplant came from there. And it wasn't done in a mud hut. Duh. And I think it's one of the fun things about having traveled a great deal, is you sort of get a different perception of different places, and you get a little amused, I think would have to be the word, when other people have these perceptions of different countries. So I'm very grateful, actually, and I would really recommend, if any of you are able, travel while you're young. for a number of reasons. The best one being, do you know you're ever going to be old? And the answer is no, none of us know that. I am so grateful that I traveled as much as I did when I was young. Because I saw most of the world in my 20s, one way and another. And I must admit I never got to India, and I never got to a couple of other places. But you know, I saw at least half the world anyway, in my 20s, which was great because it gave me a great balance as to what reality was, I think. And I spent most of my 20s in Africa, which was really a great time to go to a different country. And the reason I say that is because in your 20s you're still very flexible. In your 20s your needs are not that great. Do you know what I mean? You don't have all the stuff needs that you do as you get older. And you haven't got, hopefully, but you know, if you're single, you probably haven't got children, you probably haven't got all that responsibility. So if there's any way that you can travel, do it when you're in your 20s. And if you can't, then save up and do it at least every other year. Go somewhere. It's good for the mind. And it's good for the soul, too. And what I found was that I always came back from those sort of trips going, wow. And I was really pleased to come home. Or I was thinking, I'd really like to live there. And I've often wondered, actually, whether I would have the ability to actually retire in another country. And the reason I say that is because if I sold my house, I don't think I would have enough money out of it to retire comfortably in Vancouver, because it's so expensive to live here. But I'd probably live like a queen in a third world country. Do you know what I mean? You know, not bother to go and buy somewhere, just, you know, rent a little place on the beach or something, because, you know, I love the sun. And then that practical part of you thinks, oh, yes, but what if you need a really good hospital or whatever? It's difficult, you know, when you live in such a good country as Canada, you know, with all the medical and everything else all looked after. Makes it very difficult. So I think I'm just going to have to enjoy it for what it is, and maybe just travel occasionally on my terms. That's going to be fun. I'm trying to think of the places. I really would like to go to Mexico, because I've been to Cancun for all of half a day. You know, that's that's my total experience of Mexico, because I was on a cruise that stopped there. And I love the silver. I could get into a lot of trouble with the Mexican silver. But I do have friends that live there. They don't live by the water, but I'm sure I can find somebody who does. So I think if I did that, I'd probably like to rent an apartment or something rather than do the hotel thing. I'd rather like having my own space and my own things around me, and to eat when I want to, not when I'm told to, and those sort of things. You know what I mean? It's just so it'd be really nice to do that. I'm going to start looking for that. I've never been to Hawaii. I'd like to go there. I've never been to Fiji, but I love the people. All the Fijians I've ever met are just have been such nice people. I've been to the Philippines. I was there on my honeymoon, funnily enough. But I would like to go back. I've got some friends who live there. So I'm very seriously considering actually doing that trip. So I'm going to have to investigate that one. Maybe I should give myself a Christmas present of going there. That's a nice idea, isn't it? And of course, now that I have stopped smoking, it makes all this very much easier, because now I don't have to have this worry about, oh gosh, but I smoke and people won't want me in their place because I smoke. So now it's going to be a lot easier because I don't smoke. So I don't even have to worry about that anymore. And it really was very, very inconvenient before. Well guys, I'm very nearly home. I'm probably 2 traffic lights away and that's it. So, this is the experiment to see what it's like when the camera is placed here. Let me know what you think, if it works better for you. And you're going to get a double bonus today. You're going to get 2 videos. Wow. Hey, you got 2 yesterday. I'm spoiling you. Why am I doing that? Bye for now.